want to take you through Microsoft Access ranking, how you rank. Basically, to rank, you need to use a Dcount. Therefore, in my table, in the database, I have admission number, student, class, stream, marks. I use the field marks to rank. Therefore, basically, I can import some data from Microsoft Excel that I had already created. Therefore, we paste our data here. We just copy a bit of some data that we needed to use in our database. We paste that data. You have that 8 records. Then I need also to have marks that I will use for ranking. Therefore, I can also paste some marks there. I need to paste some marks. I copy some marks, then I paste these marks here. Yeah. Then after doing so, we can eradicate this one. We don't need that data. This is the marks that I use for ranking, so that we can get the ranks. Therefore, the first step is to create a query. We go to create query in design view. Then we drop our fields. We drop our fields down here in the query grid. Admission number, student, form, class, gender, marks. Therefore, then we can test our query. Our query is running. We save it as marks, q. Then we need to equate this field so that it can be referenced in our Dcount, which I use a function called Dcounts. Therefore, I can call this mark. Then we equate this field marks. That is, this field called mark is equal to this, so that we can be in a position to get the marks. You see this, when you run it, it is equating this. We shall see its use in the form when we shall be ranking. Therefore, after doing this, we need to create a form. We want to rank in a form. Therefore, we shall go to form in design view. Then you right click, you go to form header and footer. Then you need to tell Microsoft Access. First of all, we save this form. You can call it master. We need to tell Microsoft Access where data that will be ranked, that will be used in this form, is gotten from. Therefore, we go to properties. Then here you must read the form. Then record source. You choose marks q. That is the marks query. Then you go to, we have used this, we shall now use this one. We can now arrange our data. You drag and drop. This is how you create a form in design view. Admission number, we arrange them in order. Then we have form, class of the student. Then we have the marks. Can have the marks there. Remember, when we were dealing with the query, we added a field called mark. Now this field will be equated using a text box. Therefore, you will come at this point. You can have a text box, draw it anywhere. It is text 5. Then this text 5 is equated to this. Therefore, you just type equals to mark, not marks. Now this one will read this. It is equals to mark. Then you go to text box. You add another unbound. Unbound means it is not from the table or query. This is text 7. Now this point, this is unbound. This is where we shall type our Dcount formula. But before you do that, we can add labels on this one for easy identification. Therefore, we have our admission number, have our admission number, we have our name of the student, we have form, we have class, we have marks, we have rank, stroke position. From this point, you'll notice that our form is a bit now organized. Then you need to pull this form footer up to that point. Then in our previous video, I had shown you how to make a form continuous, so that when I run this form, it will only display one student. But I want this form to display all students. Therefore, you go back to design view, you go to properties. In the form view, that is when you are in the form view, we need to set this one to continuous. Therefore, in our form here, we need to set to continuous at this point, default view continuous. Therefore, when I now save and run this form, you will see every student, so that we can be in a position to see the ranks here. Then we go back, we type our formula here. Now our formula is we are supposed to use a formula called Dcount. If I type my formula here, the Dcount formula, therefore our formula goes equals Dcount, and then I needed to put some quotation mark. What are we counting? We are counting marks. Now this marks of ours is from a query. This query is called marks Q. Then from there we need to count. Inside that query we have a field called marks. That is the field that we shall be referencing. Now this field of ours, marks, should be enclosed in square bracket. Now this field of ours, marks, should be greater than, now we reference this text box, text 5, and our field marks should be greater than 0. We cross the quotation marks, we cross our two brackets, then plus 1, so that we can have an increment. We shall have an increment. This increment is referenced by plus 1. Therefore, we can go through our formula. Dcount should be Dcount. Therefore, we can have this formula for proper viewing copied in a text box for proper viewing. Therefore, should be equals to Dcount. We are counting marks from a query called marks Q, where marks is greater than the referenced text, and marks should be greater than 0. Then there is after looking at the Dcount, therefore if you look at the function here, Dcount, we are counting marks from this query Q, a field called marks, which is equated to mark, as I described earlier, and this mark should be greater than 0 plus 1, that is an increment. Therefore, after now doing this, you'll be in a position to see that the ranking is done. Therefore, if for instance two students score the same mark, Like now we change this one to 233. We also score this one to 233. Then we refresh by pressing F5. You'll notice that the ranking is working. These students, 233, 233, 233 have been assigned the same position. That is the Dcount. Therefore, basically, Dcount, this function here, Dcount can be used to rank. This is the function. You can use this one to rank students. Therefore, we are ranking marks from a query called marksQ, a field called marks, which is equated to this one. Remember, I showed you how to equate. To equate is to create a field which is equivalent to that one, and it will be referenced in the text box. Therefore, here I used this one to equate so that the computer can be in a position to compare. Therefore, thank you very much for watching. Always remember to subscribe on my channel for you to be in a position to receive new updates on